Well, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. And I was about to say welcome to PJTC. Now, so kind of welcome to PJTC. Welcome to my house. But tonight, PJTC will be played by my house and by Cantor Ruth's house. You may have gotten an email from us this week that we've had some exposure to COVID at the staff, and so we've all gone home to work, and so we're using that as an excuse to have you all into our home. So we're delighted. Everybody's safe right now. Everybody's healthy as can be. But we're just delighted that you can join us for this Shabbat. A couple things you can know before we get started is that this is a singing community. We are going to be singing. Cantor Ruth's going to be singing. I'm going to be singing on mute without the microphones. It's a little different, but you'll see my mouth moving, and I want to see your mouth moving if you're in Zoom. So we love to sing here. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about why I think that's so important in about the middle of the service. But for right now, just let yourselves go. If you're on mute, go ahead and sing out at the top of your lungs, even if you only kind of know the song. Give it a try. And another thing you should know is that we have a prayer book that I've got one right here. If you don't have one at home, we have one on that you can download from the chat here on Zoom. And that's one I'm going to be calling pages out of. It is the Sidur Sim Shalom for Shabbat and festivals. And with that, I'm going to ask you to open that prayer book and sing a song, and that's Shalom Aleichem. It's on page 13,
Let's join together. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Yasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Lachem l'shalom, malachei shalom, malachei elyon, mimelech malachei amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
And just like we do at PJTC, just as we're bringing up the noise, we're also increasing the light in our homes as the beginning of Shabbat. And so I've got some helpers here who are going to help bless the candles here at the Carrier House. 1 second.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat, lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Shabbat
Good.
shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. See, maybe we'll do another mitzvah over there and you can see the den. So thank you all for being here tonight. We're going to continue with our Kabbalah Shabbat service. These are some songs and psalms to help lift us up from, I'll say, the week that has been. It feels like it's been 5 weeks this week. So what we do is we start climbing a ladder. We start climbing a sulam, song after song. We get a little bit higher and a little bit higher. We're going to start with L'chuna Ranana on page 15. Page 15.
לכו נרננה לאדוני, נריע לצור אישנו, נקדמה פניו בתודה, בזמירות נריע לו, כי על גדול אדוני מלך גדול, על כל אלוהים אשר. כיוון 40 שנה אקוד ודור, ואומר עם טועה לבבם, והם לא ידעו דרכי, אשר נשמעתי ואפי, אם יבון אל מנוחתי. יאללה 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 שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, מסרו מיום ליום, ישועתו יספרו וגויים כבודו, וכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. יאיר עלי יאיר עלי יאיר עלי יאיר עלי Yalla la 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 yalla la 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 yalla la 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 yalla la 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 ya ira la 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 yalla la 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 yalla la la lo ya 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 yeah, 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 yeah.
We're going to continue, excuse me, just like we do every week with Lecha Dodi. This is our next song. Lecha Dodi means come, my beloved. It's like we're calling out to Shabbat to get just as close to us as fast as you can. We talk about Shabbat as a bride, as a queen, as a dignified person, as a celebrity in our world, and we draw her closer so that we can enjoy this week, this week that's been. Have some peace and get ready for the week to come. We start Lecha Dodi on page 21. Page 21.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yaralai, 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 Pnei Shabbat, nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yaralai, 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 Pnei Shabbat. נקבלה, שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולי תהילה, לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחש בתחילה, אוי לך לקראת קל, ירלי, 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 בני שבת, נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קל, ירלי, 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 בני שבת, נקבלה. We continue the last two verses of page 22. ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, לעת אדוני תריצי, על יד איש בן פרצי, ונשמחה ונגילה לך דודי, לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה לך דודי, לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה.
We continue on page 23 with a special psalm just for Shabbat, the Mizmor Shir Le'Yom HaShabbat on page 23.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון וכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועליך, במעשה ידיך, במעשה ידיך ארנן. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מעולם קומה מחשבותיך. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מעולם קומה מחשבותיך. Together. Yai lai 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 yara lai yara lai, yai lai 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 yara la ho, yai lai 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 yara lai yara lai, yai lai 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 lai. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
Yafa Meod. Shabbat Shalom once again, everybody, and welcome to PJTC. And I this time I really want to call this out. Welcome to my house. This is exciting for me. This is the first time since I've been the rabbi officially at PJTC that I've had anybody from PJTC over to my home, and now I'm having everybody from PJTC over to my home. So just looking at the Zoom chat, Jeff and Anita, lovely to have you. Michelle, Cassidy, thank you for being here. Ruth K, I don't know if that camera that follows you will follow you all the way here. There are several Ruths that deserve mentioning. Josephine, Carol, Burl, really glad to have all of you into my lovely home. You saw our kitchen that we're particularly happy about. But this is an opportunity. I didn't think about that at first. I thought, oh man, how am I going to do services from my house? We've actually been talking about that possibility for a while now. Ever since things, let's say, got weird. We didn't know what the rules would be from week to week. We didn't know all sorts of factors going into how we keep connecting at PJTC when we didn't have, let's say, the way we're accustomed to happen for us. And so things do seem to be keeping getting weirder, and that's okay. I think it's going to be okay, because no matter what has been thrown at us, we keep getting together. I keep hearing from more and more people who are as connected to PJTC as they've ever been, one of the blessings is that some people are more connected than they've ever been. You can now attend a meeting without getting in your car. You can have dinner, you can turn around, and then you can be at a meeting of the men's club or the sisterhood. Even if you do have your dog making noise in the background, that's okay. I've never seen so many dogs in synagogue and been so happy about it as I have in the last 10 months. And the reason I think it's going to be okay comes from a story. I may have told you this story before, but I really want to focus on it tonight. It's a story that Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel tells in his book, A Man's Quest for God. And it's a story he heard from Rabbi Israel Friedman, I think. And Rabbi Friedman says there was this little town, let's say in Lithuania, because a lot of good stories come from there. A little town in Lithuania. It's the kind of town that I grew up in. There's one of everything. In my town, there was one traffic light, one police officer. This town had one barber, one butcher, one candlestick maker, and one watchmaker. And the watchmaker wasn't just for watches. Any kind of clock that was happening, hey Callie, any kind of clock that was happening in town, whether it was the clock in the town square, a clock on your mantelpiece, a clock in the schoolhouse, or the watches that people had, all went to this one clockmaker, which worked out great until he retired. And he packed up his shop. He just couldn't see the little dials anymore, and he moved to the next valley over there in Lithuania. And the city started getting a little anxious because they noticed that the town square clock would go off, and they would look at their watches and say, well, that's not supposed to go off for another minute or two. And another fellow would say, well, no, it's actually supposed to go off 2 minutes ago. I was wondering about that. And it turned out that because there was no watchmaker in town to keep these watches in good repair, all the clocks in town were off, first by a little and then by a lot. You know, it started off a minute, two here, then it's 2 hours, 3 hours, and what have you. And there were some people who just said, phooey, you know what, it's not even worth it. I'm just gonna, squint at the sun a little bit, and that's when I'll plant my crops, and that's gonna be fine. So about half of the town kept winding their watches, even though they knew their watches were radically wrong. They made a little adjustments, they got by. But the other half of the town, they said, just forget about it. It's not worth the trouble to wind my watch or turn the crank on my grandfather clock. We'll just wait for the next watchmaker. So we'll just let these clocks run down. And so that's what happened. And it went on for, I'm gonna say about 10 years until finally a new watchmaker arrived. And he set up shop and he hung out his shingle and he put an ad in the local penny saver, and everybody brought their clocks to the new watchmaker. And an interesting thing happened. He started fixing these clocks. He started setting them to the right times. And then maybe the third person in line came and says, here, can you set my clock? And he tries and he opens it up and the springs are all rusty. And then another person comes and opens up the back of his clock and a moth flies out and it's all dust. And he says, I can't do anything with this. I'm sorry. And he says, well, you fixed that guy's clock. I said, well, that's because the guy wound his clock. And it turned out that everybody who kept winding their clocks could have their clocks repaired and reset because all of the mechanics still work. They still kept moving in somewhat the right direction, even though at a slightly different pace. But the clocks that hadn't been tended to all rusted and could not be fixed. And I tell this story sometimes in my Introduction to Judaism class as a lesson on the difference between keva and Kabbalah. Sometimes you show up and pray even when you don't feel like it because it's time to pray, and that's an example of keva. But you could also look at it as winding your watch. Even if you don't feel Shabbat right now, maybe there's some stuff left over from this week that you're still a little bit anxious about and you're not quite ready to let go of it. That's okay. You're here winding your watch. And I feel very strongly that we've done a great job. We've done a lot of great jobs at PJTC over the last 10 months, but I know for darn certain that we've done a great job at winding our watch. at finding ways that we could connect, even if it was a little bit weird, even if it was at the rabbi's house, even if there's a dog barking in the background. That's okay. We keep showing up for each other. And we keep doing things that feel familiar, even if they feel a little bit off. And so my encouragement to you is that even in the days to come, we've got a lot of days left before things feel like there's a brand new watchmaker in town. Keep winding your watch. That could be by going to your regular mahjong game from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. I know people in this congregation. Going to your regular mahjong game, having Chinese takeout instead of going to a Chinese restaurant on a certain night of the year. Having family movie night at home the same time you used to have family movie night in the theater. And above all, I especially encourage you to keep singing. This is, after all, Shabbat Shiraz. Tomorrow we're going to read about the song at the sea, and then we're going to read the song of Devorah, where a great general had a victory in battle, and she sang about that. And then after that, we're going to have an amazing program, our Shabbat Shiraz annual concert, that is still happening. And in some ways it's bigger than ever because we have cantors coming in from all over the country and even from around the world, and they're going to be here to sing with you a little bit differently than they're usually here to sing with you, but that's okay. And so this is the last thing I'll say. You can look at it this way, maybe not, but here's what I encourage you to do. This is your chance. Please sing. Because God forbid you forget the tune. God forbid you lose the ability to have your throat make some noise. When we sing, even if you're on mute, sing out at the top of your lungs. This is your chance, because this is a way you can practice when nobody can hear you. And I have this article of faith, and this is it. This is a bet that I'm making tonight. When we get back together, when we sing a song together for the first time, because everybody's been singing out loud because they've been on mute, it's going to sound fantastic. So PJTC, keep winding your watch, keep singing with us, and thank you for being here with us tonight. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to continue with the rest of our service, starting with Baruch Hu on page 28. It's our custom to rise.
Let's join together. Baruch Hu et Adonai Mevorach.
Baruch Adonai Mevorach leolam vaed.
Baruch Adonai Mevorach leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. ומעביר יום ומעביר לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב הרביב.
Amen. We continue with Ahavat Olam on page 29.
Let's join together tonight in a slightly different melody. Ahavat Olam, Beit Israel, Amcha Ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, ושוכבנו וקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Amen.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto Leolam. We continue with Tova as she leads us in Ve'ahavta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, ושבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Continue the next passage on page 30, bottom half of the page at your own pace, and we'll get back together in just a moment. We continue at the top of page 31, page 31.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל, ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף בתל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם, ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת, אמת, ואמונה, כל זאת קיים עלינו.
We continue with the next blessing, a blessing for God's redemption on page 32, page 32. This is connected to the Torah that we're going to read tomorrow in this Parshat B'Shalach. It's the Parsha that has the song at the sea. We finally escaped from Egypt. We are being pursued, but Moses raises his staff and we walk between the halves of the sea on dry land, and we get to the other side and we sing with spontaneous joy to God, who is like you among all who are worshipped. And that's where Micha Mocha comes from. It's this week's Parsha, and we're going to continue in just a moment with Micha Mocha in the middle of page 32.
מלכותו ורצון קיבלו עליהם, משה ומרים ובני ישראל הכנו שירה, בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר וקודש, נורא תהילות, אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות, אוסף אלה. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר וקודש, נורא תהילות, אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות, אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקר הים לפני משה ומרים. זה לי, ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם אין. ונאמר, כיפד אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גל ישראל.
Amen. Continue with the final blessing after the Shema, the Hashkivenu on page 33. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom. Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace and awaken us, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove all the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Praise you, Adonai, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all God's people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. We continue on page 34, page 34.
Top of the page. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות
את עולם ביי ביי ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. Well, we may have lost Cantor Ruth, but that's why we're tag teaming this evening, is everybody's got a different internet connection. I'm going to ask, hey, Tova, do you feel like leading us in the Hatzi Kaddish? All right, I got a thumbs up. Let's go ahead and spotlight Tova.
Yikadal ve'yikadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'amad divra kiruteh, ve'amlich malchuteh, ve'chayechon b'yom echon, u'chayedecho beit Yisrael. Bagala, u'bizman kariv, v'yimeru.
Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Leolam Olam Me'almaya Yitbarach.
Yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yitpa'ar ve'yitroma ve'yitnaseh ve'yithadar ve'yithaleh ve'yithaleh shemed kudasha
Rihu.
le'ela min kol birchata ve'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata Tamir ve'alma Ve'emeru.
Amen. If you'll please rise and turn to page 35b. This is a time for our private meditation, the Amidah for Shabbat evening. You can use the words from our tradition on the page. They are strong. They will support you. It's also a time where you can share whatever the private prayer in your heart is with the Holy One. And we're going to be quiet for a little while, give you some privacy to pray your own prayer. And when you're done praying, you can sit down again, and we'll all get back together in just a couple of moments.
Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'ale kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'ale kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
We conclude our private Amidah with Kaddish Shalem on page 48. Page 48.
Yikadal ve'yikad Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'amadi v'rakirete ve'amlich malchute. Ve'achai achonu v'yom achonu v'chai d'chol beit Yisrael. V'agala v'zman kari ve'yimeru.
Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorak Leolam Olal Me'al Maya Yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramal v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitala Shemei d'Kodesha.
Rihu.
Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tishbechata v'nechamata, tamiran ve'ama ve'yimeru.
Amen.
Yikabal slotanu b'oton, dechol Yisrael, kodama v'hon v'shemaya ve'yimeru.
Amen.
V'heshlam rabba min shemaya, v'chayim alinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'yimeru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'romav, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel Ve'imeru.
Amen. Shkach. I'll ask everybody if you're able to please rise for Aleinu on page 51. Page 51. Please rise for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא עשה בנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורל עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו פורעים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. על כן נקבל לך אדוני אלוהינו. כי המלכות שלך היא, ולמיה תמלוך בכבוד, ככתוב את תורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated if you wish. This is a time in our service where we remember those who are no longer with us. This week, we are marking the yahrzeit and the anniversary of the passing of Alex Zeckley, Arnold Brody, Bertha Ehrenreich, Bruce Furman, Carmela Mascoli, Selena Zlotnicki, Edward Zisman, Eliezer Schumer, Esther Sarah Felsinger, Ava Schaffler, Francis Kelly, Francis Zisman, Fred Weinberger, Gage Burr, Herbert Barg, Ira Lurvy, Isidore Alper, Israel Scharf, James Meng, James Odell, Lillian Chazen, Mary Nadel, Max Farbman, Max Rosenberg, Milton Grishkin, Natan Gerowitz, Ruth Karen Gulkis, Samuel Rosenzweig, Saul Furman, Selma Kruger, Seymour Bienenfeld, Seymour Schwartz, Sidney Lippo, Sterrett Burgess, Sylvia Rothenberg, and Theodore Fox. We are also sad to inform you that this week we mourn the loss of Edith Mazer, mother of Elliot, Glenn, and Jeff, grandmother of 5 and great-grandmother of 4. Edith passed away last Friday, January 22nd, at the age of 93. She'll be buried in Detroit, Michigan on Sunday, this coming Sunday at 10 p.m. A Zoom Shiva will take place for Edith at 5 p.m. Pacific time on Sunday, January 31st via Zoom. You can find the link for that from PJTC. We pray that Edith's memory be a blessing. May God comfort and strengthen her family at this time. We also are sad to inform you of the passing of Deanna Ahmed, a member of our community who passed away on Monday. She will be laid to rest in a private service. May the Holy One, the ever-present One, send comfort and strength to her family and all who mourn her. I'll ask that if anybody is saying Kaddish for yahrzeit or in mourning currently at this time, please rise for the Kaddish tone, the mourner's Kaddish on page 52. Page 52. Yitgadal v'yikdash shemei rabbah ba'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uvyamechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevorach leolam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'pa'ar v'tromam v'tnaseh v'tadar v'talev v'talal shmei dekudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata b'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. You may be seated if you're standing. Just have a few brief but meaningful announcements. Let's see what's going on this week at PJTC. 1 second. While I look for that piece of paper, or you can look on your screen here. I know that I want to tell you about Shabbat Shiraz annual concert that's happening tomorrow night at 7:30. This is something of a virtual concert, if you will. You will be able to find it on YouTube and on Facebook. Both of those services will be carrying it starting at 7 p.m. So tune in at 7 p.m. to hear Cantor Ruth Berman Harris, Chazan Elias Rosenberg, Chazan Ari Litvak, and Cantor Magda Fishman we've got Pasadena, California, Newton, Massachusetts, which I think might be the exact opposite of Pasadena, California, except that there are Jews there, and that's great. Mexico City and Boca Raton, all of these wonderful cantors representing our tradition of song in our annual Shabbat Shiraz concert. Again, it's a little bit different this year, but what isn't? But it's going to be equally fantastic. Just check it out on Facebook or YouTube, on our YouTube channel or our Facebook page at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow night.
7 p.m.
Yeah, did I say 7:30? That's sort of PJTC o'clock. Yes. Ignore that. It's 7 p.m. tomorrow night. So you have time to have a little dinner first, and then you can settle in. And please, please, please sing along. In addition to that wonderful program, next Sunday we are having a few things. We have religious school at 9:30. There had been a minyan plan for Jonah Rose. That's been moved to next Thursday. You'll find out about that. But what you should be there for, if you're not in religious school, is the Or Tamid Planned Giving Society is having a presentation that's being kind of co-hosted by Sisterhood and Men's Club. It's a couple of great topics that go great together: ethical wills and estate planning. The Jewish tradition has this long-standing tradition of ethical wills. You write your will and testament for the stuff you want to leave your family, but what legacy do you want to leave behind ethically? What were the things that were most important to you in your life that you want to make important in their lives? And so that's a different kind of will. Marcia Alper is going to be talking about that. And then we have Sonia Tatians is going to be talking about the more tachlis stuff, the legal and financial ramifications of estate planning. All of this is part of a great package, and it's been being presented to you by the Or Tamid, our own legacy giving society. Please come to the thing, hear about ethical wills, hear about estate planning, and find out what Or Tamid is all about. We've already got several wonderful members in our congregation in this society, and the next one could be you. So check that out. That's happening Sunday at 10 a.m. And if you have a fifth grader, and I highly recommend it, if you have a fifth grader, you should, and you're at PJTC Religious School, we're having a Banane Mitzvah informational meeting. So if your child is in the Hey class of the LBSRS, please come to this informational meeting at 12 p.m. where you're going to learn all about the ins and outs of the B'nai Mitzvah planning process. How do we prepare? How to think about it? How to feel about it? Are you a little bit anxious? Come ask your questions and let us set your mind at ease. So that's going to be happening at 12 p.m. this Sunday. On Monday night, simultaneously, we have a men's club meeting and a sisterhood meeting, both at 7:30. You can't go to both, so pick a good one. Men's club, they're both great. Men's club and sisterhood are both meeting at 7:30 on Monday. Tuesday, we have our meditation group in the morning at 8:45, and we have religious school in the afternoon at 4 p.m. And then we have a social hall that I'm going to be at. So it's what does Judaism say about vaccines? So I gave a sermon last week I was pretty passionate about, and that is teaching from a couple of tshuvot, a couple of legal opinion papers, delving the depths of Jewish law from recent experience all the way back to the time of the Mishnah. How has the Jewish tradition responded and encouraged people about vaccination, about saving lives in whatever ways we know how. So the Jewish tradition actually has a lot to say about it. And Rabbi David Golinkin recently wrote his opinion paper saying that it is a mitzvah, meaning both a good deed and a commandment, to get a vaccination, to get vaccinations for life-saving diseases in general, including the currently available COVID-19 vaccination. So if you're interested in what Rabbi Golinkin has to say, if you're interested in what our sages, both ancient and modern, have to say, we'll be going through all of these different texts and we'll pick out some highlights. If you're just curious about how Jewish law gets made, how do we get from the Torah, which was, kind of put to paper about 3,000 and change years ago, how do we reach interpretations that are meaningful and helpful in our modern life? That's what we'll be discussing on Tuesday night at 7:30. So please go to our social hall link for that, and I will be delighted to see you there. So on Wednesday, we have our meditation group at 8 a.m. We have Pirkei Avot at 8 p.m. Thursday, you can continue to explore your life through Torah with Rabbi Jason Mann at 10 a.m. And our Jonah Rose minyan, pre-bar mitzvah minyan, is going to be at 4 p.m. on Thursday. And finally, on Thursday at 7:30, we have our continuing, is this the last one? No, it's the penultimate session of our OMG class with the Milton School. And like I said, it's Shabbat every week. So next Shabbat will also be Shabbat, and we will be celebrating the bar mitzvah of Jonah Rose. And he's got some fantastic Torah to teach you. If I do say so myself, I always get a sneak peek at the Divrei Torah. It's one of the perks of my job. So Jonah is an amazing young man, and we're going to celebrate his becoming bar mitzvah next week. So tune in for that on 7:30 p.m. on Friday and 9:30 a.m. on Saturday. With that, I'll just conclude by saying, stay home, stay safe, stay healthy. You've been lovely guests in my home, I have to say, and please rise as we end how we began, and that is in joyous song. Take it away, Cantor Ruth.
Happy to be back online. Let's join together with Od Yavo Shalom, and then we'll continue with the blessings. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kulamo. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, shalom, salam, aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, shalom. One more time together. Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, shalom, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
Good Shabbos, everybody. Stick around for a little bit while we get our kiddush stuff together. I don't have to go very far because it's right here in my dining room. One sec.
Yep, I don't have to go very. I hope you can all find your kiddush cups somewhere there. Oh, we have the family. A part of the family. Two of the family. Okay, if you have your kiddush cups, let's join together. Vayer vayer boker yom hashishi, ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה, ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו, אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. Together, ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו, ורצה בנו, ושבת קודשו, באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרו למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר לציון מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת, עם כל העמים, ושבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת. לחיים.
All right. Those who wish to wash, wash as you wish. I'm gonna get my washing cup from over here. 1 second. Okay. And if you don't have a washing cup at home, that's okay. I'll just I'll do it. I'll be thinking of you while I do the mitzvah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim.
Amen.
All right. And one
I'm
more.
actually going to ask Rabbi to continue tonight.
Okay.
He has the 2 halot there that Kara probably made, and I am very jealous.
That's the perks of those are the perks of coming to the rabbi's house. You get Kara's fresh made challah. Right here. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining